Hello, you're welcome to another episode of Reviews and Recaps, and today we're going to be doing a review and a recap of episode 5 of Ready to Love. Yeah, so how are you guys feeling about the new season? Personally, I'm a bit like, I don't know, man. I'm not really entertained enough. I feel like I need to see those connections. I need to see the excitement. I feel like the first season was still the best season of Ready to Love, but I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, let's get into what you guys came for. So the first scene at the Ready to Love episode 5 was basically the elimination. It was like bang on straight away, let's eliminate one of the girls. So basically, Demetrius was the one who was tasked with the duty of eliminating the lady who was chosen by the guys, right? So essentially, Demetrius, called forward AP and Precious, right? So Demetrius informed AP and said that the men thought that she still had unresolved feelings for her husband, her late husband. And to be honest, if you guys listened to one of the episodes that I did a review on, I actually mentioned that it does sound like she's constantly bringing up her late husband in every single date with men. And I feel like sometimes that can turn a damper on things. It can make the conversations really dark really quickly. And so the men probably end up feeling like, I don't want to be dating nobody's late husband's wife or something, so I feel like that just makes the conversation a little bit too dark for these men. And so I don't think they were able to connect with her on that level. It was almost like every opportunity she just brought it up, and I just think that's probably not the best way to go about it on a TV show where it's like there's such a short time. Everyone is trying to make those connections really quickly, pretty much. Anyway, so Precious was the other person that could have been sent home. So Demetrius basically told Precious that the men think she's for the clubs, honey. Now, he didn't say that in those exact words, but he might as well have said it. That's how I heard it, and I'm sure that's how most of you all heard it. How did you all hear it? Like, let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, AP was the one that was sent home. And she absolutely handled it like a classy woman. She handled it as I thought she would. One of the things on the show is when you see people handle that level of rejection at the end, and the way most of these women handle it, or men as well, handle it on the show is pathetic. So I was actually quite excited to see how AP handled it, and she handled it like a boss. Anyways, Uncle Tommy basically told them that, it's not just about the butterflies, but who can you build a future with? I'm like, well, I know that's right. Like, okay, Uncle Tommy. Anyways, one thing he did say was that he's not including any more singles anymore. Nobody. Now it's time to own in on the connections that you already have and create that. And I thought that was really good. For me, I was tired of the every week bringing in new people. I'm like, I'm over it now. Can they actually form connections? And can connections just naturally foster and grow? But I think in a way, I do think perhaps the direction of the show is more now for drama as opposed to in season 1 where it seemed more about the connections. Anyways, I guess we'll see what happens with the next season. Anyway, so Sabrina was basically talking about, she's in such a good space, where it's time for her to focus on her connections, blah, de, blah, de, blah. And can I just say the food at the pool party was good, honey. Yes, that man Eric knows how to throw it down. Nakia continuously spoke about how she was feeling Eric, and she was like, well, I told Eric that I like the shrimp pasta, and I told him it was my favorite, and now he made shrimp pasta. I'm like, all right, honey, okay, Mr. Eric is listening. Mr. Eric is definitely feeling Mr. Kia, that's for sure. Anyways, now the messy Mr. Laverne decided to suggest a game of truth or dare. Now, I thought that the other adults in the room would say, well, I don't think truth or dare is sensible. Can we just focus on our connections or something? But they decided to bite that apple. Or the forbidden fruit, as most will say. Anyway, so the next thing, the first person was the new girl. I think her name is Tina. And she was basically there to touch the, who she was feeling the most. And, she scooted on over and went over to Mr. Paul and she touched him. I was like, okay. And I remember Clifton gave Paul a high five. I'm like, all right, okay. And then Laverne was like 31, 48. Like, damn. So basically, essentially, the lady Tina is 31 and Mr. Paul is 48. So, that's quite a huge age gap. But I guess if she likes it, I love it. Anyways, Miss Joy was there to kiss the man she had the best connection with, and she ran to Mr. Clifton. So she kissed him. She gave him a little cute kiss. I was like, okay, all right, Miss Joy. And Auntie Carmen was upset, honey. She was upset. You know what's so funny? I don't know if you guys remember the last episode, right? When Carmen came into the kitchen while Eric and Dakia were having such a good connection. And I feel like that was her karma, because look at what she did. And Joy just swooped in and kissed Mr. Clifton after Mr. Clifton done fixed her plate to eat, honey. So I was like, she was definitely jealous. I thought that was funny. I thought that was her karma, and I was totally and absolutely here for it. What did you guys think? Anyways, she was definitely upset. She said in the confessionals that, Clifton just fixed her a plate and now Joy just came over and kissed him. I'm like, yeah, you just joined the process. Joy already had a connection with Clifton before you arrived, honey. Like, dial it back, sis. Like, dial it all the way back, honey. Anyways, Miss Dakia asked Carmen if she was feeling someone genuinely or whether it was simply because that was the selection of the men that were available. So, she said she's feeling someone or a few someones. Now, can I just say, the way Carmen handled that question is the way women need to handle those sorts of questions, especially when you are playing all these silly truth or dare games and you are at an event with multiple guys that you fancy. Make sure you keep it like that. Keep it vague. Keep it, generalize a little bit, honey. Like, I was like, I'm genuinely feeling someone or a few someones. Now, that is, add that air of mystery to it. Let them be wondering, is it me? Is it him? Is it that? Now, that's the energy you need to do. If you're playing those sorts of games, then you better play it really well. And Miss Carmen knows how to do that. That's for sure. Anyway, so Eric said to nibble on the ear of, someone that he, I believe that was Sabrina, who Sabrina was feeling. And so one of the girls, I think it was Dakia, said, yes, Tori, go on and walk over there, right? Guys, shocking. Next thing, she starts looking for Demetrius and she kisses Demetrius on the ear. Now, was I shocked? No. Were the castmates shocked? Yes. I was like, guy, maybe because we're watching it, right? From the second episode, I knew she was feeling Demetrius. When she was having a conversation with Tori, right? But she kept being so concerned about the fact that Demetrius was just sitting in the back, not speaking to her. Now, what I do notice about Sabrina is she seems to like men that aren't giving her enough. Tori is giving her all the attention, giving her cupcakes, giving her all of that and more. And then she has the audacity to choose Demetrius over him. And Demetrius did absolutely nothing. There, even what's the connection? It almost seems forced to me, but I don't know what you guys think. I'm just like, girl, you better don't mess that connection that you have with Tori, chasing something you don't know that you have with Demetrius. Anyways, I hope Demetrius goes home. Demetrius is probably listening to this episode like, girl, what did I do to you? You didn't do anything. I just thought that you didn't really come and be, you're not really as present in the process. You're not really doing enough for you to continue to stay there. If I'm being honest, your dates with Sabrina just seem dry. There isn't much of a connection here, just in case you're listening. Anyways, back to the review or the recap, I guess. Next thing, so she kisses Demetrius and everyone's like, whoa. And of course, Mr. Tori's upset. Anyways, Mr. Tori got upset and got up. Bless him, honey. I was like, Tori, he seems like such a sweetheart. And can I just say his locks, honey? Yes, Mr. Tori. Those locks be locking. They look good. Anyway, so there was another date with Wiley, Precious, Joy, Demetrius, and Clifton. So I personally thought they were climbing and doing all sorts of activities. Mr. Wiley was struggling, honey. Like, he was struggling. To be honest, I think his jeans were way too tight. If I'm being honest, like, guys, always be prepared. If you're going on a date or whatever, don't be wearing no tight jeans. You know, those jeans are too tight for you to even sit down properly. Like, stop it, Wiley Brown. Anyways, I like Wiley. Wiley's cute, but, it is what it is. Anyway, so Joy pulled Mr. Wiley to the side. They started having a chat. And I personally think, like, Joy has a little bit of a crush on Wiley. But Wiley wasn't really opening himself up enough. Wiley was saying to Joy, like, yes, I will open myself up, in this process. So do it. Now is your opportunity. I do not like when people say things like what they will do in the future when given the opportunity, especially when the opportunity is right in front of them. But instead of taking that opportunity, they then say to you, I will take the opportunity. Like, guy, this is the opportunity. Like, this is your opportunity. Take it. Anyways, that really got to me just because, like, I feel like there's certain instances where people settle for things that they shouldn't be settling for because they're not taking opportunities when it comes to them. Instead, they're overthinking things. They're dragging their feet. I'm a fast. Now, am I methodical? Do I think about these things? Absolutely. However, what I'm not going to do is sit down and see an opportunity that I know is for me and not take that opportunity. And if I was on a show like this, guy, you got to take the opportunity. Every date you go on is a potential interview, honey. So you better take that seriously if you at least want to get to the end, if that's what you're out there for. But to be honest, I think Mr. Wiley was looking for a connection and his connection was not on that season, honey. Anyways, we move. So there was a scene with Tori and Sabrina. They were like having their own little date. Sabrina wanted to smooth things over with Tori. I'm like, yeah, you wanted your safety guy. You don't like that man like that. You like him because he likes you. You like him a little bit, but he likes you more, way more than you like him. And so you're just stringing the boy along. If Demetrius gives you everything you want, we all know that you will choose Demetrius. But if Demetrius does not give you what you want, then I suspect you will choose the fallback guy, who is Tori. Now, Tori, I love you, man. Maybe not love, but I like you enough. And of course, I don't want you to be the second choice. So I want you to explore your connections with other people as well. Don't be out here, settling for someone that does not settle for you. Like, no. Anyways, back to, I hear it seems like I'm giving a little bit too much advice on this episode. Anyways, I think they need it. Anyways, back to the recap. So what had happened was Sabrina was doing damage control with Mr. Tori. After nibbling on Demetrius's ear, she was like, well, she didn't say yo, guys, but I gotta put my own little spin on it. She's like, yo, like, I hope you don't think like me nibbling on Demetrius's ear take from the fact that we have a connection. I'm like, oh yeah, you could have nibbled on Demetrius's ear and then you could have gone on there and nibbled on Tori's ears. That way it's like, ooh, I like both of you. I can't choose, honey. Now that is the way you do that. Yes, it's truth or dare, but who is going to hold you to that? Worst case scenario, you drink a little bit extra because you did a little bit too much, honey. That's how you play it in a game. Like, if I was on that game and they were like, oh, nibble on the ear of those you fancy, I'm like, oh, yeah, just one. Guys, I'm going to do a few. Or I don't even tell them I'm doing it. I nibble the first one and then I go on there, nibble the other one, and nibble another one, and nibble another one for safety. Boom. That's how you do it. Anyways, I'm done. Back to their little date. So Tori basically said that, he was caught off guard and was, and he's very old fashioned and he, pursues and goes after what he wants and, blah, blah, blah. And I get that, but Tori, you're on a dating show where you're meant to date multiple people. So I respect you being old-fashioned, but maybe this is not the show for you, honey. Or you need to think about not putting all your eggs in that one basket, honey. Explore the eggs, baby boy. Anyways, Miss Sabrina then pretty much said that, it sounds like you're an all or nothing. So what are you saying? And then Tori was like, I'm rocking with you, but I need you to communicate. Anyways, they cleared the air. I can tell Tori was still feeling some type of way, rightfully so, So, because Miss Sabrina just didn't handle that very, very well. Anyways, we move to the next scene with Carmen and Paula. So Carmen was basically in the confessional just before the date, talking about she wore a sexy outfit to pretty much get his attention. I'm like, okay, Carmen, like leading with the central energy. All right, girl. Anyway, so Paul noticed, but he was like, I don't want to objectify her. I'm like, okay, Paul, alrighty. Then Paul started asking her questions as usual. He was like, so what's romantic to you? And she was basically saying, I love that, when my man can plan a date for me without having to tell me and without me having to do anything. I'm like, yes, girl, I love that. That is so me. I don't want to have to plan no dates. I want to relax and let my man plan dates for us. The thing about it, though, is like, I don't want to be part of plans for dates. However, if I'm planning dates for him, he's not going to be involved. I will plan it and then, let him show up to an amazing time. Like, I don't like to, be getting people involved and be asking, oh, so do you want this? That's not how I roll. Anyways, that's just a little sidebar. So Paul basically said that Carmen has a way of giving you that stare. I was like, okay, Paul, I see the stare you're talking about, but okay. And then Paul was like, it's the stare that will make you give up your wallet, your car keys, your credit cards, your bank information, and sign the deeds. I was like, okay, all right, Carmen, with that stare, honey. Like, okay, is this how you're catching these guys? Like, all righty, okay, Carmen. But it seems like Paul is definitely into the sexual energy, a sensual energy that Carmen is given. Anyway, so there was a next scene with Tina and Donovan. So I thought that they really connected. They were talking about like being parents and their kids and whatnot. I think they really got on quite well. And so Tina basically said, hypothetically, if they're still together on New Year's Eve, they can create a vision board. I thought that was cute. Donovan agreed, of course. And so we'll see what happens with that connection. I know that Tina is really into Paul. She definitely has a thing for way older men. So I don't know if her and Donovan is going to work. Anyways, there was another date with Tina, Dakia, Ace, Tori, and Levain. Or Levain? Yeah, whatever. Levain basically started talking about, his attention is on Ace. And then I saw Miss Ace twerking. I was like, oh, wow. Like, that shocked me a little bit. I was like, all right, Miss Ace, you got a little side to you. A little twerking side to you. Okay, all right, Miss Ace. I didn't really like the skirt you were wearing, but, you still got it. I was like, all right, cool. So Tina basically pulled Laverne to the side to have a side conversation. And the conversation was dead. Like, Tina was trying to have a good old conversation. Laverne was trying to have a surface conversation. I was just not feeling it. I think Laverne needs to have a deeper conversation with certain people. And I do wonder why he likes Ace. Do you like Ace because you feel like with Ace, you're able to direct the conversation to what you want to talk about? And she's just going to let you do whatever? Or... because I started to think the way he was handling the conversation with Tina, I did not like at all. Tina was trying to have like serious conversation or actual just good old conversation. And he was trying to have silly conversation. So I'm not really feeling Laverne, to be completely honest with you. Anyway, so there was a ladies' lounge. The ladies were updating Uncle Tommy about how childish the party was and how Levain brought up the truth or dare game. I agreed with what they were saying because, it just seemed like Laverne was being messy, to be completely honest. Anyway, Sabrina then started talking about her connections with Tori and Demetrius. Sabrina basically talked about kissing or nibbling on Demetrius's ear. You might as well have kissed him. Anyway, so Sabrina basically was talking about how Tori is all sunshine all the time, blah, blah, blah. And then Demetrius is cool, calm, and collected. And I was like, okay, girl, I know you're feeling Demetrius, but all right then. Like, just don't break Mr. Tori's heart, man. I like Tori. Anyway, so I don't understand what's in the water, but it almost seems like everyone is feeling Mr. Paul. Like, Paul has no game whatsoever, and I just don't get it. But, if they like it, I love it for them. As long as they're happy and as long as he treats them well, I guess. So Uncle Tommy basically started asking, like, okay, so who are we not feeling? Blah, blah, blah. Some people said Clifton, right? And then Carmen said Clifton. I was like, okay, Carmen, you're a bit salty because 5 minutes ago you were feeling Clifton until Joy kissed Clifton. And now suddenly you're like, nah, you ain't feeling Mr. Clifton no more. Anyway, so Carmen basically was saying that Clifton was engaging, but she saw him engaging with Joy and she was taking it back. I'm like, girl, do you think the people that you have connections with shouldn't have connections with other people? You're on a dating show where everyone is fair game. You came to the process a little bit later. Joy already had a connection with Clifton. So you're suddenly expecting there to be no connection? Like, I just don't get that. Anyways, so she was basically just acting like Clifton should be her only connection. Or Clifton should have her as his only connection, which I just think is stupid. Anyways, the ladies were not feeling Laverne, Wiley, and Clifton. So I think more people said Laverne and Wiley. So finally, there's the elimination dates, and then there's Laverne and Precious. So Precious was telling Laverne, how the ladies felt. Laverne immediately got defensive and he was like, well, he can't open up to people that he doesn't trust. I'm like, guy, you're on a show about dating. People are allowed to call you out if you're not being vulnerable and they are trying to be vulnerable. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so she basically expressed that the ladies felt like the truth or dare game was messy. He got so defensive. He kept interrupting Precious. But for me, I love how Precious handled it. Precious was like, I'm going to get what I want to say out. You are not going to stop me from getting this out. And I love that because Laverne still, to me, I don't think he listened, but at least she got out what we were all thinking. So Precious basically said to Laverne, like, you are guarded 1 minute. The next minute you are narcissistic. Then the next minute you are sweet. And the ladies are confused, like, who are you portraying yourself to be? And I completely agree with that assessment. I personally think, like, okay, I guess this is the point where I tell you, Wiley had to go home. Dakia basically let Wiley down gently and said to Wiley, like, I can't even bring myself to tell you that you're not ready to love because I knew you are. And I thought that was very sweet because Wiley is ready to love. I just don't think there is anyone there that he is a match, that he's a match with or that he matches with. I think everyone, his match is not there. So, I wish Wiley good luck. But anyway, so Laverne was basically talking about the ladies have not earned his trust yet. I'm like, okay, Laverne, if it was up to me, Laverne should have gone all the way home. But they saved him this week, so we'll see what happens next week. He definitely needs to, step up his game. But I don't know, Mr. Laverne, I'm not feeling what you're dishing. Anyways, my overall thoughts about this episode, I think it was a decent episode. The Truth or Dare game sort of like sparked some conversations here and there. I'm sure perhaps the producers were partly involved in the whole idea of having a Truth or Dare game. I guess we'll find out at the reunion. So far, I don't think any of the connections are solid, so it's hard to tell like who's going to end up in the finals or what's going to happen and who's going to end up a couple. But yes, all in all, it was a decent episode, so I'm looking forward to the next episode. It might be juicy. Anyways, thank you very much for listening. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this commentary and leave comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you guys think about the episode. Let me know if you want me to do reviews on any other TV shows. But yeah, have an amazing day. I'll speak to you guys later. Bye.